You know, when you look up at a giant skyscraper, you see the steel, you see the glass. But what you can't see are the invisible lines of data that hold the whole thing together. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the people who draw those lines, not on a computer, but out in the real world, making sure our cities stand perfectly tall. I mean, really think about that for a second. How on earth do you make sure the 100th floor of a building lines up down to the millimeter with its foundation 1,000 feet below? How do you know for a fact that those massive steel beams, made miles and miles away, are going to fit together just right? Well, the secret isn't just brute force and heavy machinery, it's data. Pure, precise data. Before anyone even thinks about digging a hole, every single point, every angle, every measurement already exists as a perfect digital coordinate. The real magic, though, is taking that perfect digital plan and translating it onto a messy, chaotic, real-world construction site. And that's where a very special kind of expert comes in.
So let's meet the hero of our story today, the assistant surveyor. These are the folks on the ground, the ones who turn all that complex data into actual physical reality. They're the reason our world gets built with such mind-blowing accuracy.
Now, the official definition from the Construction Skill Development Council of India calls them the surveyor's on-site support. But what does that actually mean? Well, think of them as the essential partner out in the field. They're the eyes, the hands, and the feet that capture and mark out the precise points that guide the entire construction project. And let me tell you, this is not a desk job. It's demanding. You've got to be physically fit enough to handle blazing sun or freezing rain. You have to be a team player through and through. And you need to be ready to work wherever the job takes you. It's for people who are tough, adaptable, and really thrive as part of a crew. So, how in the world did they achieve this level of precision? Well, they have a secret weapon. It's a seriously advanced piece of tech called the Total Station. This thing is basically 3 incredible tools all rolled into one. First, it's got an electronic theodolite that measures angles with unbelievable accuracy. Second, it has what's called an electronic distance measurement device, or EDM for short, that shoots out a laser to measure distances in an instant. And third, it has a tiny computer inside that calculates and stores all of this data right there on the spot. It completely changed the game for on-site precision. But, just having a super tool is only half the battle. Knowing how to use it and what to do with it, well, that's everything. And this brings us to the 4 core skills that every single assistant surveyor has to master. Skill number 1 is mastering the tools of the trade, and I'm talking about the whole range. On one hand, they're using high-tech gear like GPS and these total stations. But on the other, they have to be just as skilled with the fundamental tools that have been used for centuries, like measuring tapes and simple wooden pegs. They have to be experts in both the old school and the new school. The second skill is all about putting those tools into action. This is the real field work. It starts with preparing the site, carefully setting up all the equipment. Then they assist in the actual measurement, which is a delicate dance of holding rods perfectly still and sometimes even reading silent hand signals from the surveyor way across a noisy, chaotic site. And finally, they're the ones who physically mark the ground with lime or pegs, creating the real-world map for the builders to follow. Now, the third core skill, it might not be what you'd expect. It's teamwork. You see, surveying is absolutely a team sport. The assistant surveyor has to communicate perfectly with everyone on site, passing critical information and taking instructions with total clarity. There is just no room for error. And that brings us to the fourth, and honestly, the most important skill of all, safety. Construction sites are inherently dangerous places, and the official standards make it crystal clear that nothing is more important than safety. It means mastering protective gear, spotting hazards, and following every protocol to the letter, all to make sure that at the end of the day, everybody goes home safe. All right, so we have the person, the tools, and the skills. Now let's tie it all together. Let's go back to that skyscraper we started with and really understand why this role is so absolutely fundamental. And here's something that is truly incredible about this career path. According to the official standards, what's the minimum age you need to be to start this job? Just 18 years old. That's right, this is a profession you can literally build right from the start of your adult life. So think about what this means. One of the most foundational, most important roles in all of modern construction doesn't require a fancy university degree. All it requires is the ability to read and write. It's a career built on skill, on dedication, and on a deep commitment to getting it right. It's a remarkably accessible path for anyone who's willing to learn the craft of building our world. So the next time you see a bridge, a highway, or a brand new skyscraper reaching for the clouds, I want you to remember the assistant surveyor. Remember that invisible grid of perfect data that they help lay down? The real question is, now that you know about the invisible lines holding it all together, will you ever see our cities the same way again?